Hold on, we gotta make sure he's legal.
It's big. It's huge. Don't run.
Move him to your left. Stay put. Stop, Bob, he's running away. Oh, that's a huge moose, Bob. He's down.
Huh?
He's down.
You got him?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hang up, don't move. He started running away. You hit him? I think so. Oh, yeah, he's up. Hit him. All I can see is but his teeth not going anywhere. I can see him. I can put one in his short shoulder.
Dennis, we got a moose.
We got a moose.
We did it.
We did it.
God, that's a big animal, man.
What do you think, Bob?
I think he's dead, and I think it's meat in the freezer, baby.
I definitely believe he's legal. Beautiful big moose, not far from our home. Yeah, congratulations to us.
He's a good 8 inches beyond the length of my gun.
You know how long the gun is?
No. Now we got to make sure he's legal, Bob.
Yes, we do.
I mean, we do our best, but, you know, it's always a guess. Oh, all right. Couple of prayers. This is a big son of a gun. 53 3/4 for the best.
You barely reached it.
I can estimate. The legal limit is 50. He is legal. We're good. Now we got to start skinning.
The work begins.
All right, let's get to it. This thing stinks. Yeah, probably 2 to 3 hours if it's just the two of us. I hope we can get some pork.
It's gonna be more than that.
Yeah, I know. The last one took us almost 5. I hope I have a neighbor or two that comes out and gives us a hand. Appreciate it greatly. We're gonna find out who's neighborly.
Right.
Boy, that was a perfect shoulder shot, wasn't it?
Yeah. Little forward, but
Yeah.
it's damn good enough, man. It knocked him
dropped
down.
It pinned him.
Yeah, it knocked him down, and that's what mattered.
Now we're gonna buy some sausage making kits, right?
Yes, we are.
I'm gonna have to buy a smoker.
Are we done yet?
We haven't even started.
We have not even started. This is what they don't show on the meat eater. Right?
This is where all the work is.
This is not real tree outdoors. This is real life moose hunting.
At least we don't have to pack it. We got machinery for that.
Let's not point that out that we're lazy and old. We have to pack it at 50 miles through the tundra.
Oh, God.
No, at least thankfully with these good machines, we don't have to pack it out of here. That would ruin my night.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, after a failed caribou hunt, this is karma, right?
Yep.
The final step in the process is to report the successful hunt to the appropriate authorities, and that was done through the internet at the Alaska Department of Fish and Game. The final results look like this: 5 hours of skinning and quartering the moose and removing him from the field in the dark way past midnight. 2 days of deboning, cleaning, and bagging the meat and getting it into the freezer. Approximately 500 pounds of moose meat was taken off this amazing animal. We're new to this area of Alaska, and this was my first hunting season in this area, so it was certainly a learning experience. Local regulations require that a bull moose have at least 3 brow tines on his antlers, or have antlers wider than 50 inches. Those specifications are not easy to determine on a wild animal moving through the deep woods when you have just a few seconds to decide before he escapes out of shooting range. It takes a careful eye, patience, and a meaningful amount of discipline to be sure as you can be before you shoot. For me, it is the most stressful part of the hunt. If I make the wrong call and take a bull moose that is outside of those requirements, then I face consequences from the Alaska State Troopers, including financial fines and possibly confiscation of the moose. In this case, my confidence level on the legal size of this moose was high.
You guys would like to know how this successful moose hunting trip wrapped up. This machine, this Can-Am 6-wheeler 1000cc engine, has been an integral part of our life in Alaska, and I could not want for a better machine Instead of making 10 or 12 trips out on a smaller ATV or even worse a backpack, this thing hauls a full moose out in one trip, and I'm really thankful to have it. What I really want to show you is what a full freezer looks like full of fresh moose meat. Have a look in here. That, folks, is what a freezer full of moose looks like, and that is a beautiful sight. I think it's worth more than gold coins in here. I think this is what Alaskans consider as valuable as gold, and I'm tired. Multiple days of skinning and processing. I've got a sore back from lifting 125-pound moose quarters, but we're done. And it's all in here, and it won't stay in here for long. It's only single Ziploc bags, but we will slowly process this into other formats very soon. We have in here, what you see in here is burger meat, backstrap, tenderloins, roasts, and some of the shavings from the neck and other parts of the moose that we will run through the meat grinder to make burgers and meatballs. And one of my favorite things is how we make homemade smoked Cajun flavored various smoked link sausages, and that'll be coming in a future Living by Alaska.
I'm excited to share this with you today, so stick with me throughout this. It's a little bit tedious, it's a little bit cumbersome, and it's a little bit messy. So I'll caution you, some of this is a little bit bloody and grimy and greasy and slippery and slimy and crunchy. So I just want to make sure you know that before we get into this. Okay, come with me. Here's my freezer. This is the pieces to the grinder, and let's get some meat out of here. Here's our moose meat right here. We have 2 bags. I estimate each of these bags is 3 to 5 pounds of meat. We'll take just 1 bag out, leave the other bag in there for now. Another little secret, this is uncured smoked bacon, and I'm going to put that mixed in my meat. And then one other thing. Oh, here's some pork for us. So I bought some pork at the grocery store. This is all I could find in this case was pork shoulder. And so this is what we will be mixing with this and the moose meat. Let's get this meat grinder together. I'm installing the chute. The meat goes in here and out there. And I'm going to do this a little bit quickly. This can go up here. This is called the hopper. This is the auger. It feeds the meat into the knife. These are the different blades for that knife. I want to go with the smallest. This is the knife. We will try it with just the fine grain holes, and we'll see how we do. So we've got to chop a little bit of a pork here. Always work with a sharp knife, good quality knife. Let's cut this pork. And all we're doing is we're cutting this pork into just big chunks that'll fit into this grinder. The whole of the grinder is about as big as this tamper is right here. So this pork shoulder has a nice cap of fat on the bottom of it, and it's fatty all the way through. This is going to make some very good grinder meat. I want to be sure I give this moose meat plenty of fat to bind and for flavor, and when it cooks it doesn't dry out. And so this is what good clean moose meat looks like. You see it's all red, very little white, and it's ready to go in the grinder. You know, it's not frozen, but it's close, and that will make for good grinding. Tip number 3 is grind your lean meat first when it's very cold and almost frozen. Look at that. That looks really great. That is as good as it gets. That's perfect. In terms of running the meat through the grinder, that's as good as you can get it right there. It's a good fine grind. I won't need to run it again. The grinder is not bogging down because the meat is nice and cold and lean and beautiful. Okay, let's get to it. Again, we're trying to work quickly so we don't lose our nice frozen cold meat and cold grinder. Now I'm feeding the pork through it, and specifically the bacon. You can see the color changes as it comes out. I know I'm not using the tamper, but I'm not sticking my fingers down in that hole either. I'm just dropping it in at the top. The Cabela's commercial grade sausage stuffer. And this is my first time using this thing. I bought this at Cabela's in Anchorage, Alaska. All right, how should we do this? We have a lot of meat here. And what I'd like to do is, I don't want to mix everything at one time because I want several different types of sausage. Maybe I can just put everything to one side. This moose meat over here, pork meat over here, and we will do small batch mixing. This is approximately 1 pound of moose meat. This is approximately 25% or a 1/4 pound of pork. And that's how it should look, about this ratio right here. Small fistful, 2 large fistfuls. So 2 more large fistfuls, that would be another pound. A small fistful. This is what we're doing. It's called Backwoods Fresh Sausage Seasonings. This is the sweet Italian. It says right there on the back of the package how to do it, and this is what it looks like when it's finished. I'm worried I have too much meat in here to mix. I wish I had one more of these large bowls to mix things in. Let me look around a little bit. So next time I go into the big city, it looks like I need to buy some more mixing bowls, but this should work. This will give me a bit more space to mix them together, move things around, and then we'll put it all back together and put it into the stuffer. And it calls for, 5-6 ounces of water. This is 1 cup. A little bit more water won't hurt anything. It actually helps the pushing the sausage through. And so now what we do is we have to mix it with our hands to be sure that mixture with the seasoning and the water binds to the meat. The hopper comes out. It looks like this. It's about 1 pound of meat right there. 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 4 pounds, and probably about between 5 and 6 pounds of meat in here, and we're in good shape. So the next step in the process is the casing. This is hog casing. It comes heavily salted and sealed and vacuum packed, and you can buy it at Sportsman's Warehouse or Cabela's or online, and I can put some links in the description of this video if you want to see that. I know there are so many jokes can be told right now, like 5th grade boy jokes. Can we get past that? You got to be very careful with this. Go delicate, because this stuff is very thin. And if you're wondering, this is hog casing, which means this is the intestines. In this case, this is the intestines of a pig. And there's a factory that cleans this out and makes it safe for us to use. This is the traditional casing for just about any sausage that is out there. Today, if you don't want to use hog casing, they make it out of other things like collagen, I think, and vegetable and other things. But this is definitely our preference. And I'm doing my best not to tear this casing. And it's not easy to do. All right, so that's the end of that casing. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'll go ahead and tie it off, and we'll give it a shot. So let's see how we do. You guys ready? This is the first time I've ever used this, so I'm excited. Let's see how we do. I'm going to prick this sausage right here, this sausage casing. So what I'm doing is puncturing the end of this casing so the air can come out and it doesn't blow out the casing. There's a bunch of air in this line right here, and it has to come out before we can get sausage in there. Oh, that's beautiful. I like how slow and controlled this is. It's so much easier to control the flow of this meat into this casing as opposed to when you do it with an electric powered meat grinder. This is well worth the money that I've spent on it. As you can see, I'm just barely pushing on this handle and it's flowing very nicely. I know it looks a bit gross, but it is the process, and I assure you, you will like the end result, at least. And so what I want to do now is, I think I've pushed through much too, so I'll have to pinch some out, set it aside, and then we tie off the end of this sausage just like this. So here's what happens next. Here is our first piece of link sausage right here. This is what it looks like. Okay, so we're going to mix up some summer sausage, and this is the stuffer we'll use for summer sausage because it's a really big casing. All right, I'll be right back. So this is my favorite summer sausage kit, and it's the classic from High Mountain. It looks like this. And in that kit comes the casings. Remember, I've told you they're quite large, right? And some seasoning packets that look like that. There's a cure in there and then seasoning. Instructions say that I need to soak these casings. So I'm going to do that now while we mix up our different recipes. Okay, what am I doing? Time to mix meat. I could mix the meat right into this hopper, and I think I'll do that. 3 pounds, it says 2 pounds of meat and 3/4 of a pound of pork. That's 2 pounds, 4 ounces of meat and 12 ounces of pork. A little over a pound of meat, about a ½ pound of pork, just a bit over a pound of meat, and about 1/3 to a ½ pound of pork in there. And this, by the way, the stuff I'm mixing here will have the bacon in it that we made. I was saving the bacon mixture for the summer sausage. What did I say? How much seasoning? Seasoning for 6 pounds of meat would be a ½ cup of seasoning and 3 tablespoons of cure. This is the cure, not to be confused with the band. Cure is a nitrate-based salt type thing that cures the meat, which gives it flavor and color. After you cook it, it maintains a beautiful red, shiny flavor, and that's what this is. And it'll also help the meat stay good for longer once it's in your freezer. So it wants 3 tablespoons. That's 1, 2, 3 tablespoons. And then 1/2 cup of seasoning. What a mess I am making in my wife's kitchen. Actually, I guess it's my kitchen too. You make yourself a patty like this, and you fry it in a pan, and then you taste it, and you test it from there to judge, roughly whether you've got enough seasoning in it, or if it's too much seasoning, you put more meat in. If it's not enough seasoning, you add more seasoning to the mix. You won't get the smoke flavor from the pit, but you will get an idea of what it tastes like. But we've done this enough that my confidence level is high that we'll have this correct. There we go. So I'm putting a little bit of pressure on this casing to make sure it stuffs as we go through. I want a nice full casing and as few air bubbles as possible. This casing is not edible. You're not going to eat the casing when this comes out of here once it's cooked. You're going to cut the casing off of it and then enjoy the sausage, the delicious smoked sausage that's inside. And this is where an extra set of hands really comes in helpful. So I'm going to squeeze this out as much as I can. I'll twist, and then here's how I'll tie it off. This is a summer sausage ready to be smoked. Moose and pork. Here's the Pit Boss smoker. It's fired up and it's heating up. We're only at 37 degrees right now, but we will set it to 1 hour at 140, and then another hour to 160, and then another hour to 180. And we're cooking it to about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. So the first step is to get this thing warmed up, and we'll place this sausage in here, and I estimate it's going to be a 3 to 4 hour job to get this done. So let's put it in. Okay, so check this out. So you can see the smoke starting to work now. This meat probe will go into the summer sausage first, but you can see the smoke starting to roll. I've got the chimney open, so as soon as I shut this thing, all of the smoke will start going out of the chimney. And so what I'm gonna do, again, this process looks like this. The first hour, you smoke it really cold, like 140 to 120, something like that. Temperature-wise for the smoker, that dries out the meat and takes some of the water out, and then you start raising the temperature gradually to 160 degrees in the meat and 180 degrees inside the smoker. And so our first hour, it's 39 degrees right now. We've got it set at 140 Fahrenheit, and that's where we want to be. Let's go get the summer sausage. This is our summer sausage, and it's beautiful, isn't it? So we're gonna stuff this in the smoker right now and get it going. This is the temperature probe, and so we'll put this probe in the meat. It'll help us get an idea of what the temperature is in the meat at all times. I have another probe in the house, and I'll bring out here as well to monitor the temperature of the link sausage. And temperature is important. You got to monitor it at all times and make sure this thing is doing its job. What you want to do is put this meat probe deep into the meat, not just on the edge. You want the meat probe to go way in here, not on the edge of the meat and not poking out the other side like I just did. I couldn't do that with one hand, so I had to do it like this. Essentially, you see this meat probe is about that long. It's in this piece of sausage about that far, and this is what we have. Okay, everyone, let's smoke some meat. Okay, we'll keep an eye on this. I gotta go inside and clean that kitchen before my wife sees it. And I sure wish you guys were around to help, because it's gonna be a lot of work. But we're gonna keep an eye on this. Let me see what time it is. Okay, it is currently 5:20 p.m. And so we'll be smoking for about the next 3 hours. Check out the smoke coming out of the stack here. Isn't that a beautiful sight? All right, let's go clean the kitchen. Okay, we've been at it for a couple of hours now. We're smoking this sausage in our Pit Boss right here, and it's time to turn up the heat a little bit. Let's check on the temperatures. So I have a temperature of right at 140 inside the smoker, and we're only at 96 degrees inside the meat. So let's check the other temperature gauge right here, and this says we're at 100 degrees inside the other sausage. Let's go ahead and turn up the temperature on the smoker to 180, and we'll try to it's been almost, I don't know what, it's been about two and a half hours since we've been smoking this sausage, so it's time to raise it now and try to finish it. I'll open it up. Let's have a look inside. Ooh, that's pretty. Doesn't that look good? Too much heat. It's doing a great job, and it's about 35 degrees outside, so smoker's not insulated. It's working hard. We're burning through quite a few pellets right here, but it's doing its job. Okay, we'll come back and check in about another 30-45 minutes. This is a beautiful sight, I am pleased to say, and I'm pleased to tell all of you that this was a success. And I'm so excited to share this with you. We pulled it off the smoker. It was after midnight last night by the time I finished this. So I turned the camera off and I just let all of this sit overnight for the meat and the fat and the seasonings to gel together quite well. And this is the end result, and I'm so excited to share this with you. I want to tell you that this Cabela's commercial grade meat stuffer sausage maker was a great success. First time I've ever used it, and I'm really pleased with it. Cabela's didn't pay me to say that. I bought this with my own money, paid full price at the local Cabela's in Anchorage, Alaska, and I'll put a link in there for you if you want something like this for our Amazon affiliate. You can buy it through there. It helps us out a little bit. But here's what it looks like, and I'm super excited. So this is finished summer sausage made with moose. This stores very well. You can freeze it or stick it in the refrigerator for a while, and it turns out in these beautiful slices just like this. And it has a wonderful smoked flavor, a really nice texture, and it's absolutely delicious with crackers and cheese, or just to eat like this, or you can fry it in a pan. It's fully cooked. This is our link sausage. This is a sweet Italian version of the link sausage. This is what sausage used to look like way before we had modern grocery stores and factories. This is real homemade backcountry sausage, in this case made with moose and a little bit of pork. It also slices up really well. I know all you barbecue fanatics out there are obsessed with smoke rings, and look at that. Inside this sausage, if you slice it open, you can see the pink around the edges. It also smells amazing. So what do we do with this? So we will, this type of stuff we will chop up and serve inside dishes like gumbo and jambalaya. We store the summer sausage like this. I chop it into cubes. This is enough of a serving if I have guests over and I want to serve them something interesting and unique, especially when we have guests from the lower 48 that come up, that they're all curious about what moose or bear tastes like, and this is a sure hit. If I serve them this, especially if someone is apprehensive about eating bear or moose, they're not sure what it'll taste like, this is a sure bet they're most likely gonna like this. So we store it in freezer Ziplocs like that. This is about 1 pound of sausage, link sausage, and this is how we store the summer sausage as well. So this will go into the freezer. I'm really proud of this. I'm very pleased with how it turned out. The Pit Boss pellet smoker did a really great job. We monitored the temperatures all the way through. We cooked all of this very carefully up to 160 degrees to be safe to eat, and this thing did a great job. Hey everyone, I'm Bennett. It's hunting and camping season here in Alaska, and I'm super excited. Here's the problem. Alaska has famously bad weather, and it's unpredictable. It could be a beautiful day like today, and tomorrow you could have rain, snow, sleet, hail, and high winds, and that threatens your life in the backcountry. I've spent the last 10 years trying to come up with the perfect kit to survive in the backcountry, and I think I've found it, and I can't wait to share it with you. Let's go.
This Arctic Oven tent comes in a 2-piece shell. The base layer, or the main body of the tent, is this. This is a fire retardant material because this thing is built to have a wood stove inside of it. You don't want your tent burning down. So this is a fire resistant material. It's also insulating. This is something you would use for car camping, or if you're going in on a heavy duty ATV, or maybe even a larger aircraft or a boat that flies you in. This works really well. This is not something you'd ever want to pack on your back.
So here's the Arctic Oven tent. I've got it set up. So the next step in this process is we have the cots, we have some chairs, and I have these brand new sleeping pads made by a company called Hazli, H-A-Z-L-I, and they're brilliant. There's one very unique aspect of these sleeping pads that changes the game for me in the backcountry, and I can't wait to show it to you. So my cots came with the Arctic Oven tent. One of the reasons I love this tent is this right here. This is what's called a vestibule, and it gives you a porch, it gives you an awning, it gives you some protection to let you put dirty clothes, muddy boots, and other gear that you don't want to take inside of your living space with you, and it's just out here. And I love this part. It takes a little longer to set up, and it's a little bit heavier, but it's a really nice item, and it's a really nice element to this tent. Here's how we put together the cots. These metal cots are a bit finicky, but they're worth the time in a car camping situation if you're not in a big hurry. Okay, so we have the main bars to the cot to put together. They're a little bit finicky. You've got to slide one tube over the next, and they don't seem to stay sometimes. So it takes a little bit of patience and practice. It's less fun in the middle of the winter when it's freezing outside.
So this is the cot. I got these cots years ago at the Arctic of Intent location in Anchorage, and this is what they look like put together, fully assembled, very smartly designed. The entire cot fits in here, and this hangs here so you can put gear in it. When you're resting at night, you can put all your important items in there. It's a good little storage. Okay. One of the most important things for your comfort and your survivability in the backcountry is a sleeping bag. A sleeping bag can literally save your life in the backcountry of Alaska when things get cold and nasty if you have a tent failure. The most popular and trendy thing to use right now is goose down. And goose down is very light, very warm, and very comfortable. There's a problem with it, and that is delicate. Goose down, if it gets wet, will give you no warmth, and that becomes useless. It rains, folks. Alaska is not a desert. It's not Colorado. It's not New Mexico. It rains a lot. Alaska's wet. Most of Alaska is very wet, and if you go into the backcountry for any length of time, you can count on cold rain. Even in the middle of the summer, especially in the high country, you could count on maybe snow and freezing rain. So I don't use down anything in Alaska if I have a choice. One of the old master hunting guides, he had hunted and guided brown bears as a master guide in Kodiak, Alaska for 40 years. And he said to me, he said, "Bennett, I never allow goose down sleeping bags in camp." He said, "Synthetic bags only for that reason. Synthetic bags will stay warmer even when wet." Now, the downside to a synthetic bag is a little bit heavy, a little bit bulky. It is more affordable, but in this case, the weight and the bulk is irrelevant because I'm not carrying this on my back. So this is my favorite bag. This is a sleeping bag rated to, I believe, 0 degrees, and it is made by a company called Kifaru. All of Kifaru's items are made in the United States. They source United States materials by American workers. And if you don't want to support overseas, if you don't want to support the communists, if you want to support free America, this is the way you do it. You buy something like this. And by the way, it's a fantastic bag. Let's put this inside the tent and we'll show you how we set up inside. So like I said, I do my best to not make too many trips in and out of a tent, especially when it's muddy. And that's why I've set everything up first and then I carry it into the tent. I think this is a great time to share with you something that found me recently. I got an email from this company called Hazli, H-A-Z-L-I, and they said, "We love your channel in Alaska and we'd love to send you some of our sleeping pads to try out." And I said, absolutely. One of the problems with sleeping pads in Alaska is, well, okay, we have many problems with sleeping pads in Alaska. There's no perfect pad. If you buy a really ultralight pad, then you're standing out here blowing on it for the next 20 minutes until you get lightheaded, and it provides minimal insulation, minimal comfort, and minimal safety because eventually they pop and you're sleeping on the ground again. Those are great for backpacking, but not great for this kind of camping. So then the other way you go is you can buy a giant foam pad that's huge, and it gets smelly after a while, and it's just really large, and it starts to sink in the middle of the night. It's not so great until now. There is no better sleeping pad that I know of for Alaska with this kind of camping and this kind of tent than this. This is the Hazli. Hazli made this sleeping pad, and it has a built-in air pump. That's right, guys, a built-in battery-powered air pump. So Hazli did a really good job building these new sleeping pads. Comes in a really smart carry case, straps to hold it together. You can see it's insulated, and it's quite thin when it's compressed. And the absolutely most brilliant design of this pad is this right here, folks. This is the Hazli Ventura, and this right here is the air pump. It's incredible. I love this thing. Let me show you why. So instead of having to blow on this thing for the next hour and get lightheaded from all the blowing I'm having to do with this thing will inflate itself without needing a big, large, separate air compressor or extra batteries. All you do is the flip of a switch says to the inflate, and here we go. We're almost there already. Hazli says this takes less than 1 minute to inflate, and they're right. We're done. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. This thing is incredible. I love it. They were smart enough to put just a little bit of a pillow at this end of the pad in case you forget a pillow at home, like a camp pillow. What a way to go. Thanks to the brilliant designers at Hazli, and this is the Ventura pad. I will put a link to where I found these pads and their website in the description of this video, and I hope you check them out. That's how we will spend our nights in the backcountry waiting for the caribou to show up.
All right, the next step I'd love to share with you is how we cook and eat in the backcountry. And on this trip, we're not worried about weight and bulk and all of that because we're driving in my truck to the campsite. We're simply unloading the truck at the campsite and setting up camp there, and then we take the four-wheelers, the ATVs, into the backcountry for day hunts. So when you camp in the backcountry, something like this is fantastic. This is a Jetboil. I forget the name of it, the model of it, but I'll put that in the description. Jetboil doesn't pay us for this. It's just something I'd love to share with you. It comes in this really great carrying case, and it takes propane bottles that look like this. So this is our stove kit, and this is my cooking pot kit. This is made by Stanley. I bought it at REI Co-op in Anchorage, Alaska. And it's a pretty affordable little kit, stainless steel, and it's self-contained, which I really like. So it has all sorts of things in there. Frying pan, a boiling pot, a strainer for liquids. It came with spatula and a heavy spoon, plastic bowls, plastic plates, and some plastic utensils. Really great little kit, really smartly designed. It works on induction cooktops if you have one of those, like an electric induction cooktop in your camper van or otherwise. This is why we take this, and that's how it looks as we cook. I love these cups. These are made by Sea to Summit, basically a sippy cup for adults. It keeps beverages warm or cool, and they're easy to manage. I always keep a hatchet for splitting firewood for the camp. And this is a great little hatchet made by Gerber. If you need a sink to wash up dishes, this is what works really well for us. It's called Sea to Summit, the kitchen sink, oddly enough. Brilliant. And this is what it looks like. You can scoop water out of this or fill it with water, hang it or set it down, and it will support itself with the water in it. And you can use this for washing dishes or washing your face or otherwise. It works really, really well.
Adventure in the Alaskan backcountry is an outdoor gear intensive effort. Having the right tools for the adventure can mean the difference between having fun or being miserable. Learning to select and use the correct gear could also save your life. This is a base of knowledge that is not easily gained through books and videos. This is best built through experience, mistakes, and lessons learned. In short, the best way to get prepared is to get out there and do it yourself and learn as you go. I hope this video helps speed up that learning process for you so you can get out there more often and have more fun while you're doing it. We at Living My Alaska are outdoor gear obsessed, and we put together a video playlist just for you. It's called Tools and Toys for Alaska. Join me there. Let's go.